Welcome in, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Tuesday. What is today? November 25th?
Month out from Christmas.
We should probably know what day it is, considering we know what day Thanksgiving is. But when every day feels the same for the last 4 months, I think you lose track of that just a little bit. So here we are.
All feels the same?
Well, just when you're in such a routine day to day, I don't really. You remember the days, but the dates, I don't really feel like that's something that stays normal for you. At least not for me.
No, I don't keep track of the dates.
Yeah, I have no idea really usually what day it is, and I just look up at the computer and I tell the folks what the computer says. So thankfully it says Tuesday, November 25th. 7:01 a.m. right here on Jocks. A lot of college football to get to today. We have Connor O'Gara coming up at 7:20. Interesting thoughts on an article that he just wrote. He was talking about Diego Pavia. And the way he referenced this was he went back the last, I think, 20 years and tried to find college football players as important to their team as Diego Pavia has been to Vanderbilt. And I thought it was a fascinating discussion, fascinating topic as to just what individuals have meant this much to a program as Diego Pavia has. Because I think we can make the argument this is the best season that Vanderbilt football's ever had. Obviously, how it ends is going to determine that to a certain extent. Still a lot of things out in front of them that they can accomplish, but already done a lot of things that no Vanderbilt football team has ever done, and he has done things that no Vanderbilt quarterback has ever done. So the first thing that I thought of, fellas, 800-239-9569 if you want to get in. Text in 205-834-9450. Andy Bertram at 8. Jake Thompson updates us on the Lane Kiffin situation at 9. Is there a non-quarterback that you would throw into this? Because I can give you quarterbacks that I think are close or that I think would qualify for this. But if you went the last 20 years, a player that was almost as important as Diego Pavia has been to Vanderbilt, that was a non-quarterback. Because I'm not sure I can come up with very many. One that immediately came to mind was Travis Hunter at Colorado. And you would still probably have to give Shedeur Sanders, and I think you would have to give Dion a lot of credit for that, for kind of putting them back on the map.
Yeah.
I mean, what would we be talking about Colorado without? See, even that one's kind of like a little bit of a three-headed monster, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't even know if you could say one or the other because it'd be pretty heavy in one direction. I mean, I think Derrick Henry would be a non-quarterback that could make an argument. With how good he was in that one season, 2015. I'm trying to think of like another non-quarterback. Jeremiah Smith, but...
All right, but we're talking about Alabama and Ohio State. Like that's,
they have other guys.
Exactly. Those players didn't put those programs sort of back on the map.
Yeah.
They weren't down in the doldrums of college football, I think, kind of like Vandy was when Clark Lee got there. I think that's the difference is you're going to have to find a program that not a lot of people were really talking about or that had a lot of down years and all of a sudden now is nationally relevant.
With the exception maybe that last part in Ndamukong Suh.
Here's the problem with Ndamukong Suh. No one watched him except for one game. Like I think it's amazing how everyone's like, oh, Ndamukong Suh. He had one ridiculous game for sure, and he is a phenomenal football player. But I don't know if anyone else could actually tell you, all right, hey, remember that Colorado game?
It's kind of like Luke Kuechly.
You know what I mean? Like
everybody's like, Luke Kuechly was unreal in college. I'm like, what? When did you watch his game?
Which game was your favorite? I think another one would be Manti Te'o, even though I don't think Manti Te'o was as good as people made him out to be. People will probably use him as an example of a guy that's like transcendent at middle linebacker, but he was really more of a media agenda.
Pollock
was really good. I don't remember who else was on his team.
They had some good players on that team, and David was awesome, but I think even David would tell you, like, Georgia didn't really need him to be on the map, so to speak.
I'll just say this: like, the linebacker was sick, but I mean that Georgia team had dudes, but golly, he was sick.
I don't think this can be from an Alabama, a Texas, a USC, a Miami, even an Ohio State. Like, I don't think this can be that kind of a guy. Like if you wanted to go to maybe I think Manziel at A&M is in this category.
Colin Klein
probably should be mentioned that way, but I don't know if he got Kansas State.
Jordan Lynch. I'm just thinking, you know what I'm saying? I know those are quarterbacks, I know, but like I'm just thinking
they're
of
fair
like,
examples,
very
fair examples. I think
or just was amazing. Colt Brennan at Hawaii.
Timmy Chang, yeah.
No, Colt Brennan was the dude. Timmy Chang was just there forever. Timmy Chang was Diego Pavia before Diego Pavia. He had to have played 8 years of college football.
Kentucky's Josh Allen? I don't want to say Josh Allen because you go right to the Wyoming guy.
No, because you'd go with the running back / quarterback /
Lynn Bowden, Benny Snell. They were
Bowden.
good. They were good players on that team. Seriously, there were multiple good players on that team.
Ashton Jeanty.
Okay, but Boise didn't really need to be put back on the map. Like the program's been fine. He was a
Robinson.
generational player. I agree, but it's not like no one was paying attention.
Give him the Heisman now, Mark May.
In all seriousness, like all joking aside, Brady Quinn. Like Notre Dame was like
what
nothing.
about Jeff Samardzija?
Samardzija stunk. Tom Zivikowski
Whatever.
stunk. But those were like the three guys.
But it is kind of ridiculous when I counter these, to act like Eli Stowers is not a really good player. There are other good players on this team too that are helping a lot.
Yeah,
they probably don't get near as much credit.
Quarterback makes it all go.
Well, especially him in this system. I think everybody knows how I feel about Cedric Alexander. He's vastly underrated, not just for carrying the football. He does a lot of things really well. There are other guys that deserve a lot of credit on that team.
For sure.
The way that he has, and I'm sure some of this is also self-imposed. He has helped create a little bit of the hype machine himself with his, demeanor, actions, interviews,
That's
whatever.
part of it, though.
It's not all negative. But that's gotten people talking about Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I mean, like if you rub red paint on your face and look mean playing Florida State, like you're gonna look tough, and like everyone's gonna think you're like the greatest player of all time. Like, I mean, there's like, it is a little bit of a media creates the narrative, 100%. So like his involvement in the media is going to be beneficial. Like, so that is part of the equation. Like Brian Bosworth, greatest player of all time in college football?
I'm going to probably say no.
Probably not, right? Probably not. But I think a lot of people remember him as such. Why? Media. Manti Te'o, same deal.
Hype. That's
Hype.
it. Hype. Yeah.
So that's part of the equation. Like that's part of the evaluation. And I don't think there's anything wrong with utilizing that. I think it's a good thing. And he's done it. He's done it valiantly.
And I think the way you have to look at this is, what would that program team have been if this player was not there? I think that's why you throw, like, did Manziel have Mike Evans? Yes. But, like, what was Texas A&M? How many 5-star quarterbacks did they have in the next 3 to 5 years after him and couldn't get to 500? I mean, Auburn fired their coach 2 years after they had Cam Newton. So I think I have to look at it from the standpoint of, if this guy was not there, what would they be? And I think you throw Tim Couch into this. Like, system was greatly responsible. Yes. But like Kentucky was not relevant.
Yes.
Before he came around. Now he had Craig Yeast and he was an amazing receiver, and yeah, the system helps with that, but without him, where do they end up going? And you could probably say, okay, well, without the system and those coaches, that's also probably fair. But without Tim Couch pulling the trigger, where is that program for the next decade after the run that they had been on just before he got there?
Yeah.
I think he's a guy that would kind of fall into this category.
I just don't remember who else was around him. I'm not. Like,
he had Craig Yeast, who was an amazing receiver.
No, I know.
But he didn't have a lot of other guys. There weren't a lot of other guys that you would remember or that played in the NFL for a long time. Like, it was system based and some good players, and he could make it go.
Yeah.
But again, going for the non-quarterbacks is where I kind of struggle. Like, just either the guys on defense out wide. We could probably find some running backs. I don't think that would be like Deuce McAllister. Ole Miss might fall into this category.
Yeah, he was a great player.
and he didn't have a ton around him. He literally carried. I mean, Deuce McAllister returned punts. He returned kickoffs. He played running back. He was carried the load at running back. I mean, he wasn't like an 18 to 22 carry a game guy. He would be one that, and I don't think there was a boatload of talent around him. I mean, he was the one that I kind of programmed on his back for a while that I would look at.
What about Dexter McCluster? Seriously.
Really good player.
He was sick.
He was a great player.
He was amazing. He was all they had. Like I remember our defensive plan. I was like running scout team when I was like 2006 or whatnot. And it's like, all right, guys, all we need to do is stop 22. If we stop 22, we'll shut them down.
We went over there. God, this was 99, I want to say. Maybe no, this is 2000 we went over there. And we punt it. Dexter McCluster, Deuce McAllister fields it around the 20.
That's insane.
And he makes like 1-2 and then gets north and south. And he's at the 50. And their big thing was when they scored a touchdown, they would play Crazy Train. And he's not even to the 50. But he's, you know, when you just hit one down the middle on a punt return, you know it's gone. He's gone, and he's at the 50, and it's like, all aboard! Ball, 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 ball. He's not even in the end zone yet. You're just like, that ain't good. He was that guy, though. And like you said, I don't think that team had a lot of other NFL guys around him.
Yes.
And Deuce McAllister was returning punts.
Oh, yeah. No, he did everything.
Dog.
Caught the ball out of the backfield.
He wasn't no small fella either.
Nope. So it's I think you have to at least try to take the look as how far would they have fallen? Where might they have been if they didn't have that guy?
Ooh.
And I will say with Diego Pavia, like I don't think Vanderbilt's close to where they have been the last 2 years without him. Because you could have Stowers, you could have all these other players that you've brought in. I don't think they're close to it because I just think he brings a little something different, man. He manipulates and works and operates that offense to a super high level, and don't know where they would be without him. I mean, I think they would still be, you know, praying for bowl eligibility and probably not getting there if there was no Diego Pavia right now.
I don't think they would. I mean, I think they'd be hovering right around the bowl. But I think part of what he does more from a belief standpoint, from a leadership standpoint, I just think that he's kind of the guy that provides the wind beneath their wings. You know, I mean, he is just kind of that way that like they really believe they can do anything because he's their quarterback. And I think there's something to that. Like there's some type of innate belief that they have. And hey, don't worry, our guy's going to make it happen for us. So if I just give a little more, if I give a little more effort, like I'm going to be able to get it done. Like it's I don't usually like to point to the intangible qualities. Like I watch shows that preview games. They're like, oh, if they just try harder than the other team, they'll win. No, I don't usually look at it that way. I'm more like XO, but he is one of the rare examples where I do believe there is an intrinsic benefit to him being on the roster. Even if he was hurt, I think his presence on the sideline would have an uplifting effect for everyone on that team. I don't know why, but I think they really respect him and they play hard for him.
Yeah, just an it factor. Mm-hmm. He has it. Antonio Macbeth tweets in, what about Kenneth Walker at Michigan State in 2021? Yeah, but he had Peyton Thorne.
And Keon Coleman.
Keon Coleman was pretty good.
Yeah.
Eric Crow tweets in Michael Crabtree.
Yeah, Graham Harrell.
Graham Dog.
I'm trying to think who else was on those teams.
Not much.
Not much. No.
I'm sure they had a coach on the field at slot.
Tanner tweets in Lamar Jackson.
Of course.
I mean, listen,
he was number one.
I will go to my grave saying still to this day, we can talk about Manziel, Burrow, Cam, best season ever. Derrick Henry, best season ever. But the most impressive accomplishment in the history of college football, through my eyes, is Lamar Jackson winning the Heisman Trophy behind that offensive line. Because it was an abomination of offensive line play every single week. Every single week. The amount of untouched defenders that had free runs at him on a very regular basis, on a series-to-series basis, was ungodly. And the fact that he was able to go out and put up enough numbers to win the Heisman behind that group is incredible.
So they weren't on the Joe Moore Award watch list early on?
I think they won the Joe Less Award that year.
Wow. You should do a Joe Les Award. That would be incredible.
Paul Papa John tweets in RG3.
Oh God.
Oh, jeez.
Oh boy.
I mean, it fits the criteria.
I was going to say, who was talking about Baylor before him? Well, don't answer that. But
Okay, I won't.
Although, to be fair, their records got better after he left.
Exactly.
Because
It's almost like he's a product of the system.
Mm-hmm.
Weird. I'll give you one. Andrew Luck.
how many other quarterbacks won the Heisman after he was there?
How many others? First of all, he shouldn't have won the Heisman. Andrew Luck should have won the Heisman. Secondly,
No should haves in Heisman.
popularity contest.
If we're going to go down this path, then you might say Will Reichard.
Oh boy.
Too soon.
Well, how much hair has been pulled out of Alabama fans' heads because they can't find a kicker?
But I think
Then they finally get
I think
one.
the program would have been okay
Would have been
without him.
fine.
Were they?
I don't think that the ship was going down
You should,
when the kicker left. They were
I don't
gonna
know.
be okay.
It ain't been the same.
we kind of know the name Talty.
And we've seen that the other way around. We've seen 6-star kicker come in when Michael Proctor from Pelham went in there, and the program did not collapse after he wasn't Will Reichard. So
Oh, somebody said Cam Scatteraboo.
Sam Levitt. What about this one? Joe Kane.
Kane is able. Problem is you had Alvin Mack and Darnell Jefferson
Darnell Jefferson was a freshman.
Impact player.
put the ball on the ground. Ball security was a problem for Darnell.
Problem
Still
is
is
once
to
he
this
got it
day
right.
because we haven't seen him bounce back from it because there was no sequel. But
they did have a coach on the field in Latimer.
Yeah.
he was their Pavia
He
essentially.
was their Pavia. Or Bud Light Kaminsky.
To backup quarterback.
No, Bud Light Kaminsky is the lineman with the dumb haircut that wore the suspenders.
It's an interesting thought, and there are a couple more coming in from folks. We'll continue with the conversation. 800-239-9569. See, Jimmy tweets in also 2015 Derrick Henry. Remind me, who was coordinating that offense again?
Lank.
Oh, I feel like he would have maybe had an answer for a couple of things if there would have
Hey.
been no Derrick Henry. Once again, was the program falling off the map if he would have not had been there? I'm going to say I doubt it. So therefore, that's kind of part of where I won't let the conversation go. But we will continue this conversation. You can be a part of it. 800-239-9569. Text into the show 205-834-9450. Rainy today. Cooler temperatures are out there. Don't get caught in the cold. Schedule your system checkup now from a Train Comfort Specialist. Train has been recognized 11 consecutive years as America's most trusted HVAC brand and our exclusive home for comfort partners here at Jocks. Visit Train.com to find a comfort specialist near you. Back with more of this conversation next on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. 7:22, Tuesday, November 25th, right here on Jocks. 8 minutes from now, we'll have Connor O'Gara on, who kind of got the ball rolling on this entire thing of players in college football that were more important to their program than Diego Pavia. I have one I'm going to throw at you. Now, this is an easy response for Greg where he has gone. Like, how many games did you watch? Did you see it? But I do think there are some that we can mention that maybe last longer than when they were just at the school. For example, Doug Flutie.
Can't tell you.
One of the few reasons people still mention Boston College football, correct?
Oh, my. Why are you doing that?
Tell me other guys.
Matt Ryan.
Luke Kuechly.
We already mentioned him. Well, Corey Dillon? Or not Corey Dillon.
No,
what was
Corey
the other
Dillon.
Dillon that played tailback for Boston College?
AJ Dillon.
AJ Dillon. Big old AJ
Corey,
Dillon.
I can promise you this. Corey Dillon did not go to
Corey.
Boston College.
No, I knew there was a Dillon running back at Boston
AJ
College.
Dillon.
All right, how many players like all time are normally mentioned for Boston College? And obviously that Hail Mary is still shown.
True.
Phil Jerkovic.
Tommy Castellanos.
Not mentioned a ton. Not mentioned very. I mean, for quitting, yes. Not for many other things. Best receiver in Boston College history.
Oh, boy.
It's probably in the last few years,
I
actually.
couldn't
That's the
name-
I would
best
say
one
it would
quarterback.
probably
You
have to
won.
be.
Not a receiver, but your
They
boy
have
Matthias Kiwanuka.
We did
Yeah.
it. We did a game. We did a game of Boston College. They were playing North Carolina during COVID, and they actually had some dudes at wide. I was like, this ain't bad. I kind of
Zay
like it.
Flowers. Yeah.
Yes.
Zay Flowers.
Zip it, Cole.
Okay, and he is the school's all-time leading receiver.
Yeah, the
with
best.
3,056 yards.
Try to tell you.
Yeah. Big play Zay.
Guys, this is amazing. Number 4 all times, Pete Mitchell, tight end. I love that. Number 8, Mark Chmura.
Pete Mitchell, the People's Champ.
The number 11 all-time leading receiver in Boston College history, Darren Flutie. Did you even know
Is it
there was
Darren?
another Flutie?
No.
Darren?
This is receiving.
Are you sure that that's his brother?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Don't draw conclusions. You don't know that.
I just asked, did we know there was another Flutie? I didn't say
I
anything
didn't.
about being his brother.
Old Doug and Darren.
I'm going to have to look this up.
One of these
How do
things
you spell
one of
Darren?
these things have in common is the Boston College all-time leading receivers after Zay Flowers, Alex Amidon, Rich Gunnell, Pete Mitchell,
Oh, yeah, it's his brother.
Kelvin Martin, Lewis Bond, Brian Brennan, Mark Chmura, Grant Adams, Brandon Robinson, Darren Flutie, Tom Waddle. Wow. Tom Waddle played for the Bears
Jalen's
back in
brother?
the day.
Waddle and Sylvie.
Genetically, no.
Uncle.
I've watched Tom Waddle play in the NFL. No.
Well, if you're going to
Coach on
draw
the
the
field?
conclusions between Darren Flutie and Doug Flutie,
Jalen wasn't a coach
I think
on the
it's
field.
fair
Tom
for me.
was.
So you're telling me these people all have pickleball subscriptions somewhere?
Most.
Okay, all right.
All but I think 2.
Did Matt Ryan throw to any of them?
Anthony DeCosmo,
I feel like there's a lot of coach on the fields on this list.
Scott
yeah.
Gieselman,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Rob Ricard,
How were all of them the first one on in the gym?
Dave
All
Zumbach.
11 of them.
Dave Zumbach. Now listen, they got a Marcus Cherry in there. They got a Clarence Cannon.
Okay.
They got a Kelvin Martin. So all-time leading receiver, Zay Flowers, 3,056. Goodness gracious. Alex Amidon is next with 2,800 yards.
They're a ground and pound.
Also, by the way, Zay Flowers is safe. Not only is he 1,200 yards ahead, he had 31 touchdown receptions. Okay, well, you have to go down the touchdowns, I was going to say. Oh, wow, A.J. Dillon, 40 touchdown receptions.
Really?
All-time leader.
AJ Dillon.
A.J. Dillon is the all-time touchdown receptions leader.
That's wild.
That's okay. That might be from scrimmage, by the way, with what I'm looking at. He is the all-time leading rusher, 4,382 yards. Next would be Andre Williams. He's a good back, 3,779.
Yeah.
But next in yardage, Alex Amidon with 2,800.
Pretty big gap.
Receiving touchdowns, Zay Flowers, then Kelvin Martin would be next, and then Pete Mitchell with 20. So, yeah, your records are safe there. I don't know. Just Doug Flutie was somebody that popped into my mind.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. There's definitely more. Like Donovan McNabb would come to mind. Like Syracuse had some great players really over
He
the
was
course
different,
of time,
though.
but he was a dude. Golly, he was a dude. That was like one of the first college guys I like really remember. You know what I mean? Like golly, it had to have been mid '90s. I don't remember when. I was probably
It was
6,
later
7.
later 90s, yeah.
Yeah, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old or whatnot. I remember watching this guy, Donovan McNabb. I was like, that guy is my favorite player I've ever seen. And he goes to the Eagles. I'm like, oh, I have to hate him now. It stinks.
We're gonna do that.
But he was Michael Vick before Michael Vick.
Yeah,
like he was.
Yeah, he didn't have the straight line speed, but as far as making people miss in the backfield
just
and like
crafty.
making these miracle throws, and he had a couple of like big late game heroic moments at Syracuse, and that his lore probably should be more than it is, honestly, right now.
Yeah.
When you think about
He should be a Hall of Famer in the NFL. He was just a great player. I mean, he's just a great, great football player. I mean, I'm sure Steve McNair would be on the list for some folks. Granted, different
most people
level
never
of
even
football.
heard of it, but yeah,
different level of
100%.
football. But I mean, just as far as what he was able to do on the football field, nothing quite like it. Honestly, Peyton Manning. I mean, I know that's not. I know he's at Tennessee. I know he had players around him, but in my experience, like Tennessee football didn't exist before Peyton Manning. I know it obviously did, but as a 37-year-old dude, a 37-year-old dude who watched Peyton when I was 8, 9, 10, I remember being like, this guy's unbelievable. Like, whoa. You know what I mean? And then on the other side of the coin, you could say Ryan Leaf. I'd never heard of Washington State football, y'all.
True.
Never, not one time. And all of a sudden, these guys are playing the Rose Bowl? What the heck is this?
No, that was not a program that had a ton of wins before that.
Drew Brees at Purdue.
Yeah.
Another great one, I think.
I will say this, though. Like, Brees played in an era at Purdue. Keep in mind, Mike Allstott, okay? Vinny Sutherland, a wide receiver, kick returner. Y'all don't remember him. He was a really good player. Like
Brees was younger than Allstott, dude.
But I'm just saying that was an era for Purdue where they had numerous really good players. It wasn't like today's Purdue. They were Kyle Orton was there for a while. He was a good college football player.
He was a great college
I'm just
football
letting you
player.
know, like they had some good players during that era. It was a little bit different, but he was massive. So what they did, he took them to places that they had not been in decades. So probably does belong in that category. All right, we'll talk to the person that kind of generated this conversation, Connor O'Gara, Saturday Down South.
I love how our whole conversation started. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. Our whole conversation started around who's a non-quarterback?
It's
And the
all
last
quarterbacks.
47 players we mentioned were quarterbacks. I'm sorry. We totally took it off the rails, kid.
No, I knew we were going to have quarterbacks. I sat there on that plane last night and thought, all right, who would some non-quarterbacks be? Like Julius Peppers at North Carolina, maybe?
North Carolina is always going to have 2 or 3 dudes on their roster that you're like, oh my gosh. He went to North Carolina?
Yeah.
You know, like Jeff Saturday, Julius Peppers.
But it's kind of to your point. Like my senior year at Auburn, Dre Bly had like 18 interceptions.
Dre Bly.
But we never saw any of them.
No.
Like, they were never on TV. I was like, this guy might be really good, but no one really knows because all you see is him on game day taking interceptions back for touchdowns. Like, North Carolina football wasn't televised unless they played Miami on a Thursday night. That was it. So no one really knew. All right, we'll talk to Connor O'Gara about it next on Jocks. For today's entertainment, go pick any all-time statistical leader at Boston College and just read the names. You will laugh out loud. It's worth your time.
It is.
7:34 Tuesday, November 25th.
Should be more guys named Vinny, but there's not as many as I expected.
I'll give you all-time receivers 25 through 30. Tommy Sweeney, John Bonestali, Dave Bennett, Rob Rickard, Dave Zumbach, Artie Graham, Hunter Long, Bobby Swigert, Mike Godbolt. That's some all-timers, no doubt.
I don't really know what to make of it. I'm pretty impressed.
All right, don't forget, you can always listen online, jocksfm.com. The app is in the App Store, iPhone, Android. Download that for free. Watch live on YouTube each and every day. Search Jocks945 or tell your home smart speaker to enable the Jock skill.
Bill Smith Buick GMC is the GMC dealer of the year, the national champion of GMC dealers. You can go and check them out for yourself. Take the short drive to Coleman, I-65, exit 310, Highway 31. Get yourself a GMC Sierra 2500 Denali Ultimate. $97,530 is the list price. You can take $12,000 off the sticker price and get it for $85,530. It's deals like that that keep people coming back. It's the very best. You guys will absolutely love the experience you get when you go shop at Bill Smith Buick GMC. Andy Cole and John Diego take great care of you just like they've taken great care of me. I promise you'll feel great about it if you just take that short drive up to Coleman. And you can also shop online, have delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com.
All right, before we welcome in Connor O'Gara, last thing on Boston College. All-time receivers, these are the years that they played at Boston College. And just keep in mind, like college football in general.
Yeah.
Top 12, 1996, 1975, 1984, 2001, 1980, 2010, 99, 2006, 98, 91, 83, 2019. Outside of the service academies, what other school are you saying that about? That
Not
their
many.
all-time top 12 receivers, that many played pre-2010. Connor O'Gara with Saturday Down South joining us now on the Higginbotham Hotline. We stole this idea from you, Connor, and I'm interested to see where you have gone and then maybe where you've gone since having the actual conversation of players in college football history that have been more important to their program than Diego Pavia. Start just Pavia and how you view his importance to this program.
It's almost hard to fathom, guys. And, you know, I think that for those that are trying to understand, like, why this matters so much, you have to look beyond the fact that this is Vanderbilt football we're talking about, a program that has 9 regular season wins for the first time since the Woodrow Wilson administration. Like, this is a team that had fallen on hard times with this current coaching staff. And, you know, what I think separates Diego Pavia from other more valuable players, or at least people in that conversation in the last 15 years, is that he was coming into a situation where the coach was on the hot seat. He had had multiple winless seasons in SEC play. And if he doesn't turn things around, like this coaching staff is getting gutted and nobody learns the name Diego Pavia at all. And instead, what's happened over the course of the last 2 years is, you know, it feels like a Disney movie at times. Like, yeah, maybe it's one too many shots of his mom celebrating in the crowd. Like, we got that ad nauseum. But I mean, it's hard to put it into perspective what this guy has done for this university. And even a guy that, you know, like Jordan Rogers, who's, you know, as connected as they come with all things Vandy, didn't even have Diego Pavia as like one of his top 10 quarterbacks in the SEC coming into this season. And he was still getting slept on as the guy who was all SEC at the end of last year. So I've been struggling to find the right words to come up with like how his legacy is going to matter and carry on. And I do think that it is going to be on the short list of the most valuable players of the last 15 years. He's
been fun to watch for sure. And I think his impact on Vanderbilt football is immense. Every dollar Clark Lee makes from this point forward, Diego Pavia should get a slight to moderate kickback because of how good he's been for Clark Lee and what they've been able to accomplish. How would you assess Vanderbilt's chances this week of going to Tennessee and possibly pulling an upset and maybe making a statement in favor of the College Football Playoff Committee?
I don't think their playoff chances are that great, and that's a tough pill to swallow for an SEC team to go potentially 10-2 And it wouldn't necessarily even be really the fault of Diego Pavia and this Vanderbilt football team, which is more than just Diego Pavia, but it would be more the byproduct of teams kind of collapsing after Vandy just essentially ruins their season. I mean, look at how many teams you could point to and say, wow, like things really took a turn for the worse, like LSU, Virginia Tech. I mean, especially, I think you could even go back to South Carolina and what they did in that game, albeit a game in which Lenore Sellers gets hurt. And you could look at all these seasons that just take a nosedive after Vanderbilt plays them. And, I do think that they have a really good chance of going on the road and winning in Neyland and doing things to a defense that has struggled this year. I think that with what Vanderbilt has been able to do, I think that not just in the passing game, but being able to find those running lanes with Pavia, I think to me that's going to play well against this Tennessee defense that has just kind of struggled all year to continue to get stopped. So I think it's going to be more about the chaos that can happen around them that's going to determine their playoff chances. I feel pretty decent about Vandy going in there and winning this football game with the level that Pavia is playing at right now, where it just seems like he can get every blade of grass that he wants. And Tim Beck, the OC, deserves Broyles Award consideration, in my opinion. And I think this thing is going to be really difficult to stop for Tennessee.
There are a couple of things underrated with Vanderbilt that people don't talk enough about. Tim Beck's got to be at the top of that list of just getting almost no credit for what they have done the last couple of years. Connor O'Gara with us Saturday Down South, having a discussion about college players most important to their program, maybe more important than Diego Pavia has been to Vanderbilt. So when I read this and saw this on the plane last night, I started thinking about non-quarterbacks. We've come up with a few maybe, but I don't even feel like the ones we've come up with have been definitive as to, and the hard part is, like, I don't think, Connor, you can come up with a player at an Alabama or a Texas or a USC. Like, Reggie Bush was amazing, but it's still USC. Like, the program was going to be okay without him. I just don't know if it can be at a program like that. It can't be at Ohio State or Michigan. Are there any non-quarterbacks that you have found that have been even close to what you feel about Diego Pavia in this situation?
In the last 15 years, no. And that's dating back to 2011. So that's not going to include some like an Ndamukong Suh or something like that. But, yeah, in terms of non-quarterbacks, my co-host Will Ogburn made the case for Derrick Henry. And I said, well, you know what? Bama had already won 3 of 4 titles. So, like, yeah, obviously Derrick Henry's role was immense in that 2015 run. And, I think Jake Coker, the job that he did in the postseason is so underrated. And Derrick Henry obviously taking all the attention. Lane Kiffin did a masterful job scheming throughout that college football playoff. But still, this is a guy who has come into a situation that was considered one of easily the bottom 2 or 3 programs in Power 5. And it's got them to this place where they're legitimately fighting for a college football playoff berth this upcoming weekend. And he's trying to get to New York and become the first player in the history of his program to do that. And so the list that I came up with of quarterbacks in the last 15 years, and again, it's all quarterbacks: Manziel, Deshaun Watson, RG3, Burrow, and Baker, and then Stetson Bennett IV. Those are the only guys that I can come up with that I would concede and say they are more valuable to their programs than what Diego Pavia has been. I think everybody else I could argue, like even Lamar, who did such unbelievable things for Louisville. Bobby Petrino got fired a year after Lamar left. So what is that really saying about how he changed the trajectory of the program if that's what the case was? So I just think that Pavia, as you mentioned, like every dollar that Clark Lee earns moving forward has to be attributed to this guy that he was able to get from New Mexico State.
See, I think the context is important. I would almost steer it just a little bit of a different direction than you. What would Louisville have been right after Lamar if Lamar had never been there?
True.
And like, how much worse would it have been? And so I think like your points about Derrick Henry, I get it, I hear it, but I think Alabama would have been okay. So like we talked RG3 a little bit earlier, and Baylor did have some good quarterbacks, some good offenses, and like Greg said, they won more games after he left than when he was there. So that one's going to kind of go back and forth. I don't know where you go, G-Mac, as far as finding a non-quarterback for this list.
It's hard. You can find them. I think it's harder to find, though, just because so much of the offense runs through the quarterback and has forever. It starts with the quarterback, and he touches the ball in every play, and it's hard. So I think it's difficult to find. Is there another guy in your eyes that didn't play quarterback besides Derrick Henry? Everyone is citing Derrick Henry. I get that. But is there another guy that kind of comes to mind that didn't play that position in the SEC that would be on the short list?
just in terms of the SEC guys, like, I mean, Honey Badger, I'll always go to bat for him.
LSU
Tyrann
had
Mathieu
no
did.
dudes. They had no dudes besides him. He was the
Right.
only one. But I don't disagree.
Yeah.
Like, that guy took over games as a nickelback. You know how hard that is to do? Like, that is insane.
Yeah, if you want to get outside the SEC, I mean, Travis Hunter, like that's a guy that probably has to be part of that conversation. What he did for Colorado, putting them on the map, all the national exposure that they got. Like, I realize that Shedeur is the talk of the town with everything, but if Deion Sanders is unable to get Travis Hunter to flip from Florida State to Jackson State and then ultimately bring him over to Colorado from Jackson State, we're not really having conversations about Colorado in 23 and 24 the same way that we were, and for him to win the Heisman Trophy, like that value is tremendous to me. But I don't know, like maybe even Christian McCaffrey at Stanford, like you. It's a really difficult thing to do, and I just think that people that don't want to acknowledge this Pavia thing, they're just basically saying like, we don't like that he's brash, that he's cocky. And my point to that would be, all right, so did you not like Baker Mayfield? Did you not like Johnny Manziel? Like, are these personalities just people that rub you the wrong way, or is it because it's happening at Vandy? Like, is it because he is 24 years old or whatever and he's gaming the system? Is it because he's 5'9" and he doesn't fit into these traditional molds that we think of? I just think that the conversation with him, it's kind of weird how polarizing it can be at times. But yeah, the value, it's second to none, and he's way closer to being remembered as a statue guy than being remembered as a guy that was just like bad for college football.
No, I'm with you, and I think when you like, even we talked about Colorado earlier, I mentioned Travis Hunter, and I just said that feels like such a three-headed monster between Deion, Shedeur, and Travis that I don't know if I could allow it all to go to him, but it's a fair point to say what would they have been without him. I don't think that they would have been close. I still think Deion's going to bring a ton of attention, a ton of eyeballs, and they were so bad. Just to turn it around a little bit, still would have gotten a lot of attention. I got two that I'm going to throw at you guys and just kind of get your thoughts on it. Now, keep in mind, some of you weren't a part of this conversation, Connor, but earlier we talked about hype being a real part of this, factoring into this. What about Ed Oliver at Houston?
That's okay. So the only pushback I have is, you remember that year after and him on the sideline, he's got like the jacket on, and there brought some negative attention to Houston that year later, the post hype year. And, he had the Heisman campaign where they sent out the bobbleheads of him on the horse and stuff like that. And it was a really fun thing, especially Houston at the time being a Group of Five program. But I almost feel like his pre-draft season kind of derailed that a little bit. And as much as it did, provide good attention during, the buildup and all that stuff, I feel like that kind of took away from it. And he became almost oddly an afterthought among college football fans. That was different with the NFL draft people. But I don't know. I feel like his legacy will be remembered in sort of a different way than Pavia, who's going out, playing obviously his best football, down the stretch here.
No, it's totally fair. Nobody was talking about Houston, I don't feel like, before that. And then I feel like it almost started through recruiting. And this will be an easy counter for Greg, too, because he'll say, well, who watched them? But I almost look at this like in all-time lore also. Like, that's why I said Doug Flutie earlier. Because whether you watched him or not, if you start talking about Boston college football all the time, like Luke Kuechly, Doug Flutie, I even had to come up with A.J. Dillon's name because I called him Corey Dillon. So there's just not a lot of guys you're throwing out there. Like Pete Metzelaars is not going to be a dude you throw out there every time.
Petey Metz?
He could go. Another one that I'll throw out there for you guys. This is a weird one. Max Crosby, Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, but how many Eastern Michigan games were you like? I'm asking the wrong person this question, because you obviously
I actually called a few back in the day, but no, I wasn't grinding on Eastern Michigan tape. Still am not. Probably more entertained by them using the sledgehammer to try to break down the cinder blocks on their way out of the tunnel. But either way, if you were talking about guys' importance to their program, I do think he would have to be in the conversation there, just because we literally would not mention one thing about him without him, and we still don't mention him now. So probably not going to qualify to be more important than Diego, I would imagine.
Jadeveon Clowney is another one that kind of came to mind. You talk about that position and what it means to do that at South Carolina, where, he had probably the most viral moment of the last 15 years. I mean, that play is iconic, and obviously, South Carolina had already been in a golden age with Spurrier before that point, so maybe that takes away from him being remembered as one of the most valuable guys, and kind of just like Ed Oliver, where it fell off pre-draft season, but still a guy who brought so much attention. Like if South Carolina was on during that time and Clowney was lining up, you're watching that team and you're trying to figure out how in the world is this college offensive line going to slow down that guy? I mean, he and Myles Garrett probably part of that conversation for their respective universities, where even though they weren't necessarily part of teams that competed for national championships, you still remember them and go, wow, they were worth the price of admission for whoever was able to watch them.
I think from a height perspective, he absolutely falls into that category as well. Yeah, I don't think anybody would deny that. So, hey, we appreciate the time, man. It's a great topic. Hell, it's bought us 3 segments of radio already today. So we appreciate it, Connor. Have you followed up on your unachievable statistics list yet?
I need to. I really do. I did something earlier in the year. I was texting you about it. I can't remember what I titled it, but it was like the stats that like you wouldn't have believed had you told someone back in August that they would actually be real. So I'll have to do something like that post regular season when things calm down a little bit here. Just the stats that made absolutely no sense whatsoever. Still don't think we're not getting the Auburn 1,000-yard receiver. So yeah, look, we tried to throw that into the world and manifest it, and doesn't look like it's going to happen this year.
Absolutely. All right. Appreciate the time, Connor. Great catching up. We'll do it again soon.
Gentlemen, appreciate it.
Super hot take for you on South Carolina and Jadeveon Clowney coming up next on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 800-239-9569. You want to get in and be a part of this topic, you can do that. It's 7:54, Tuesday, November 25th, right here on Jocks. Thomas Taylor tweets in, Tom Waddle, the best receiver from BC and also hosts a Bears radio show. Jimmy Holt tweets in, sorry, Cole, had I known you were going to add 35 qualifiers and shoot down literally every single suggestion I made, I would have kept that to myself. Love the show. Great topic. What about Larry Fitzgerald?
Whoa.
I actually think that's a good one. Now, if you're talking all time, did he put the program on the map? No. I mean, you had Dan Marino, you had Tony Dorsett, you had some great players. But when it happened for him, because
he resurrected
I know that some people are going to say, they're going to say Aaron Donald. There were not a lot of people talking about Aaron Donald in college. Not casuals, no.
No, not casuals.
Larry Fitzgerald, I do think you could make the argument, did more for Pitt football than maybe any other player.
He resurrected it for sure in the modern era.
Like my dad would tell
Except
you, like
for
Harold
Tyler
Green
Palko.
and some other guys. But
Tyler Palko, of course. Short list.
Fitzgerald gave Pitt an incredible run of publicity for multiple years, and he was incredible.
He was
at
insane.
Pitt.
Like, that guy was next level dumb in college. Like,
I just remember everybody talking about how, well, he never separates from guys. I was like, you know what? But he does catch the ball. Feels like he gets a lot of catches.
Oh, it's wide separator, not wide receiver. Okay.
Kevin Buckley tweets in Darren McFadden, Arkansas.
Felix Jones is pretty good.
Well, they had a run of really good players. He was more special than any of them. And I would say probably put the program on his back more so than any of the others. That's an interesting one because he was a part of them getting the team to national relevance. Thomas Taylor tweets in, Andre Ware, Houston. At the time, absolutely. Now, you also could argue that there were a couple Klinglers after him that put up similar numbers. Anthony Thompson, Indiana.
Is Andre Ware kind of in the same category as like an RG3, like a little system-y? And then we have come to find out that like maybe that wasn't all the player, it was the system that helped a lot.
Still have to have the guy doing it though.
I'm not denying that. I would kind of put him in the same category as like those two guys, maybe a Mariota.
It's a fair category. He also goes Michael Bishop, Kansas State, Anthony Thompson, Indiana. I would go more Von Dunbar at Indiana, but to each his own.